On June 19th, 1987, at 9:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Earth passed into the extraordinarily diffuse tail of Rhea M, a rogue comet. According to astronomical calculations, the planet would remain in the tail of the comet for the next 8 days, 5 hours, 29 minutes, and 23 seconds. Because this is Slashers, a horror movie podcast brought to you by three goons with nothing better to do on whatever night we had decided to record this week. I'm still using the same one breath. Are you impressed, gentlemen? To my right is Jimothy. Jim, the intern, Jim Turn. How do you do, sir?
Good, how are you?
I'm quite well. And to my left, producer Chad, who remains producer Chad, despite the fact that he is a recurring character on the drama of my life. Chad, how do you do?
Pretty dang good.
And I am Jake. See, so we've done roll call. I'm going to try and crowbar this into every episode because we have a lot of new listeners who are filing in, and I don't want them to be like, who's guy so loud? Oh, I should unfriend him on Facebook.
If it's loud, it's Jake.
Yep. And if it's theatrical, it's Jake. And if it's annoying, it's Jake. And if it's an accent, it's Jake.
Correct.
Jim, what's the best accent you can do?
None.
I would like you to do one.
Terrible at accents.
That's great. That makes it better for me.
No, we don't want to go there. Might end up being kind of racist or something.
Whoa, okay. That's actually the one good excuse. Chad, what's your best accent?
Oh, I'd have to be with Jim Turn on this one.
Wow, you guys not giving me much to work with.
They have to just come to me in the moment. I can't cue one up.
Oh, okay. You're at a Jewish deli in New York. Go.
Yeah, but Jewish isn't in there.
I'm walking here.
Hey, get off my lawn.
Yeah, my lawn is for some reason in this Jewish deli. Because fuck you, guy. Skunad, huh? How about that, huh?
Huh?
I slap you mama's face, sir. I'm totally Italiano. Somebody referenced Tony Soprano on my page today, and I was like, all right, cool. We're expanding from horror.
Yeah, I've never actually watched it all.
Neither have I, but I know the twist ending or whatever, and people are upset about it.
Black screen.
Yeah. Or it wasn't Fade to Black. It was like Snap to Black.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that? Did you watch The Sopranos?
No, never.
So I've dodged three bullets now. Because originally it was Lost. My whole plan was I was going to wait till it was all done. I'm going to watch Lost. And then everybody's like, no, that ending's so unfulfilling. Why would I watch it? So I skipped Lost.
Second,
Sopranos. Everybody's like, you fucking motherfucker. That's the worst ending because you don't know if he's alive or dead. I'm pretty sure when a gun fires, somebody's probably going to... Whatever. You're wishful thinking you want your character to live. That's fine. Just like Maximus Decimus Meridius from Gladiator. Everybody wants him to live, but does he? I mean, come on. No. And then third, of course, as Chad indicated, Game of Thrones. I will not stop gloating. You and everybody was like, you should watch it. The best thing ever.
There's lots of boobs.
If I want boobs, I know where to find them. Dude, have you ever looked at boobs on Reddit?
No.
Dude.
I've actually never been to Reddit either.
Reddit can be rad.
Ever.
If you don't post anything, Reddit is awesome because people are so shitty that you'd be like, oh, I like the sunset. And they'll be like, you're a cunt. Whoops. Sorry. Because it's one thing to just downvote somebody. That's fine. It's diplomatic. You don't like it. You're espousing your opinion. But when you call me a cunt, unironically, for liking sunsets, that's when we have a problem. What's the worst thing you've been called on the internet?
On the internet? Oh, God. Nothing really.
You have an Instagram where you post pictures of flowers.
Yeah. I'm not even a big, I don't know, communicator.
Very wholesome.
Yeah.
Do you think we should just totally raid his Instagram and be like, you fuck pigs, you shit suck? And then people will be like, what? He's just posting pictures of flowers.
Do it.
Absolutely.
I love this idea. It's my new pet project. Jim, what's the worst thing you've ever been called on the internet? You've done a lot of online gaming. So.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I don't remember. I can't remember anything I've been called, but I'm sure I've been called some horrible stuff.
Yeah, I guess when you look back to when me and Jimmy used to just play Halo all night with like 14-year-olds, then yeah, we've probably been called a lot.
I think it's gotten worse.
Oh, for sure.
I've been playing PC games recently. Like
it's hyperbole.
PvP. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, N-word, F-word, everywhere. Every other sentence.
Yeah, you can say the N-word when you're over the internet.
And you're 11 and you don't know what it means.
Yeah, no, it's gone pretty bad.
Chad, you can correct me. Have I told the story about People Are People on COD 4?
I don't think so.
Okay, so years and years ago, this is Call of Duty 4. There's the map, I believe it's called Crash, where there's the downed helicopter in the center. We're in a game lobby, and these little kids are using the N-word over and over and over again, and they're just yelling at each other, and it's tyranny. It is preteen tyranny. How about that? And so I start singing as loud as I can, Depeche Mode. People are people, so why should it be? You and I should get along so awfully. Buh, buh, buh. And it's dead silent. And these kids clearly have no idea how to comprehend what just happened. And this dude who's clearly smoked so much weed, I can almost smell it through my head. Says like, man, you like Buddha, Mr. Sliced Bread. I don't know that. And I was like, this is everything I wanted. So this poor fucking guy, I assume he was black based on the cadence of his voice. I hope that doesn't sound racist. Sits there and listens to all these shit-sucking kids screaming at each other. Then he hears me obnoxiously sing Depeche Mode, and he thinks that that's his Gandhi-esque sermon. It's the best thing that ever happened to me on the internet.
Hey,
That's a pretty good one.
I hope I haven't told that story before.
no, I really don't think you have.
I think even my wife's heard that story, and she never talks to me about video games. And this fucking guy, this is how nice Jim is. He's like, hey, would you like a PlayStation 4 and the one game that you coveted more than anything? And I'm like, no, I have to add people who I don't know on Facebook so they might listen to my show. Thank you.
I should have brought it anyways, but you're welcome,
Yeah,
Goons.
no.
You're going to get some more episodes.
Seriously.
Slappers.
So this one lady on Facebook, because I've been adding people like crazy and trying to get them to listen to the show, it's working kind of. She goes, hey, Jesus, Chad, it sounds like you sat on a duck that's alive.
Maybe.
Anyway, so I send her a friend request, and she's from Tasmania. She goes, why did you add me?
Yes, I had several of those today.
I was like, I'll be completely honest with you. I want my podcast to get big enough so that I could travel back to Australia. That's like my goal. And she blocked me immediately. But I was typing my other statement. I was like, I know it's an untenable goal, but it's something that keeps me motivated. And she just completely blocked me. I was like, all right, fine. I clicked send anyway, and then I turned it off. But I'm sure that's happened more than once. That's just the one that was directly in my face.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I had a lot of good interactions today on Facebook.
Oh,
Because
yeah?
I've been kind of behind on the whole Facebook branch out.
Yeah, a little bit, but not terribly. You've been doing other things,
Yeah.
like having an anniversary. Congratulations.
Woo! 8 years.
Jesus.
Seems like just yesterday.
Yep.
Yesterday.
Just yesterday, I was happy.
All my troubles seem so far away. Wife and I saw yesterday. Did I tell you that?
You did. And I said, what's that?
Yeah. Well, last night we recorded a test bit of audio we sent to the patrons to say, hey,
The
thanks
test
for
bitty?
contributing. What?
Nothing.
Anyway, in the video, I was able to say in good faith and good conscience without misrepresenting the truth. I said, we saw yesterday, because then it was yesterday, but now it's yesterday's yesterday. So it's a completely different situation. Anyway, my point being, I actually liked it. It could have been better though. Jim, have you seen any good movies that weren't horror related lately?
Yeah, we saw Spider-Man the other night.
Spooderman.
Yeah.
We've all
Was-
seen Spooderman.
Yes.
That was fun. I liked it.
Oh, I loved it.
Really good.
So it's a hard question. So my cousin who I went with was like, hey, is that the best Spider-Man movie? And I was like, parts of it are inarguably better than any other one. But at the same point, it's like, it's so weird. Into the Spider-Verse was kind of perfect for me. Like that was going to be really hard to top.
Right. But if you take it out of if you want live action, I'd say it's up there.
Yeah. I mean, it's as good, if not better. Because here's the thing. Everybody really harps on Spider-Man 2 being amazing, which it is. It's great. But I love Spider-Man 1 in a lot of ways because I had never seen a film that did that. And so I think that when you take the chronological history, like the impact that it had, Spider-Man 1 is kind of superior in that way. But yeah, I heard a fan view of how they could have made Spider-Man 1 better. You ready for this? Spider-Man 1, you've probably both seen the test footage with the animatronic Green Goblin face. I probably showed it to you because I'm obsessed with it because it looks amazing, right?
You have not shown it to me.
Okay, well, I will, along with my penis. My point being, so they went with the motorcycle helmet thing anyway. And one of the people was like, hey, well, what if when they're in the fire, the mask melted and then you got more of a goblin-esque mask? And I was like, you son of a bitch. This movie came out 17 years ago. And I never realized that's exactly what I wanted. I just knew how I wanted to get there, but I didn't know how to get there. And now it's wasted. But there could be a multiverse movie. Did you see that fan-made trailer that was pretty dope?
No, I haven't.
So, like they literally cut together the Garfield, the Maguire, and the Holland, And so they're even interacting with one another. It's pretty cool.
Sounds fun.
You know that meme where it's Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man and they're like, ah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I saw a new one where it's three of them and they're all pointing at different directions. And one of them is the Tobey Maguire, one of them is Tom Holland, one of them is the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man, and one of them has like 2 + 2, and one is 2 × 2, and one is 2 squared. And I was like, that's the best math joke ever. And the fact that you delivered it through Spider-Man makes you c'est magnifique.
Do you think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man?
Yes,
I do, for sure.
I do.
Easy. Yeah.
Easy, right?
Well, I mean,
He's just so good. Yeah.
Right. I think they need to turn up his intelligence a little to be comparable to the comics, but I think he's really great. He's young, kind of goofy teenage. I don't know. I really like him.
my only complaint is that he's too reliant on Tony Stark.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Which is, I totally understand why. It thrust him immediately into the forefront of it, and now he's on a global scale. He's able to do these things. But, you know, I like it better that he's poor. I like it better that he's always struggling because that made him so relatable. I always said as a kid that if you took Spider-Man's lifestyle and mixed it with Bruce Wayne's abilities, you have the best superhero because it's me. It's you. It's everybody. It's just
Right.
a guy who's down on his luck, who's trying to do good the best that he can. But I mean, truly, he's the right age. He's like the most fun age, and he'll be the most fun age for a while. You can
Right.
do the Clone Saga with him. You can do these awesome things. Yeah, so I like it. What about you, Jimbo?
And he's got the best aunt.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just
The most
saying.
bangable aunt.
Marissa Tomei. I changed my mind.
Happy's getting happy.
I no longer want this podcast to get big enough to where we travel to Australia. I want to travel to your booty hole.
Oh,
Analingus. Talk about that. Ryan didn't know analingus was a real word.
yeah, that was.
He was like, haha, clever
was
joke,
really-
Jake. And I was like, huh? I should have just taken credit with it and left it there. Like, oh, yeah, of course. I invented analingus.
We should have secretly snuck it onto the podcast so that he would have been like, haha, and then we would have been like, it's a real word, and then did all through.
Then we would laugh at him.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Fuck boy.
You're a fuck boy. So we now have 2 official slashers podcast catchphrases, which are raw dog and fuck boy. Gonna have a real hard time expanding to new demographics. They're like, wait, what did he say? He said raw dog 17 times in an episode? Nah, it's not for me. Not my show, not my Spider-Man.
Oh.
So we're kind of filling because Maximum Overdrive, like we said on the Wednesday warm-up last week, which was released last week, but it's for this week. Whatever, fuck off. Go away. The problem is there's nothing story-wise in this movie. All we will be doing is describing visual cues, right?
Yeah, there's no substance at all. It just is cocaine-driven insanity.
And so I would like to know from the people feedback. Do you like banter? Do you not like banter? Because sometimes I'm like, oh, we got to get straight to business. And then sometimes I'm like, fuck this movie. Let's talk about bullshit. Jim, what do you think your own tastes like?
That is not something I've ever considered.
Ritz crackers.
I think that it tastes like chili cheese Fritos is what I would suspect.
Oh, yeah, that might be good.
You ever notice how some BO smells like that?
Not that I've smelled.
Wait, are you trying to say something?
I Old Spiced it before I came in here.
So I have noticed, and I will be serious, I have not eaten meat because of this little freakazoid over here in almost a month and a half?
Yeah, almost 2 months.
Yeah, almost 2 months. I have less offensive body odor.
It's true.
Not even joking.
For all you fuckers who want to think that I'm like some like Sermon on the Mount preaching about veganism, I'm not. I started out being vegan because it was a challenge to myself, and I felt so much better instantaneously. I was like, why the fuck don't I do this all the time? And that was almost 15 years ago.
Yeah. And I'm not doing it for the animals.
Well, animal rights came into it, but
I have high cholesterol. I'm overweight. I was just like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. If Kevin Smith can do it,
yeah, right.
come on. And that guy has like no muscle at all.
At all. He's got
He's
like
just-
negative muscle.
right.
He does the Bugs Bunny thing where he like does the bicep flex and then it goes, pew. So yeah. Jim,
But I do love you, Kevin. Sorry.
Jim, how's your body odor based on your diet?
I think it's okay.
He's not lying, folks. I don't know if our fancy new microphones picked that up, but I snorted him hard. Honestly, I felt it like in my back. I breathed in through my nose so fast. That's weird.
You're gonna have to decompress after this.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do my inversion table, which is sitting haphazardly on the floor to the Right. So this movie, shall we get into trivia?
Let's do it.
Okay. In doing some research for this, I found out that my hero, Joe Bob Briggs, your hero, likely if you're listening to us but you haven't listened to Joe Bob Briggs, you're doing yourself a disservice, because that's like going to like Burger King and not going to Gordon Ramsay's burger or whatever. Anyway, did you know his original stage name was going to be Bubba Gonzalez?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, apparently he was talked out of it by his editor, who was like, that might come across as racist. So he was like, racist? Why don't I come up with the whitest name that ever was? Joe Bob Briggs.
Joe Bob Briggs.
So there you go. Enjoy that kernel of knowledge that doesn't matter worth a shit. If you recall the trailer for this film, Stephen King says, I'm going to scare the hell out of you. And that's a promise. I can't do the I crossing, but you get the gist. Wrong.
Oh, so wrong.
Jesus Christ,
He thought
Stephen.
he was so clever.
This movie is so much patting himself on the back, where he's like, I came up with a way for a guy to die because he had a fucking headphone on because technology. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
We still don't even know how he died. He just had headphones on.
Exactly. For all we know, he masturbated to death. You don't know. You're not a forensic person.
Death by exhaustion.
Dude, I would it's the parody of Lost Boys. I want the Southern California metalcore band version called Death by Exhaustion to tour with Death by Stereo. So let me ask you boys legitimately, is there anything in this film, no joking, that you could even pretend was scary?
Oh, God. No.
Mm-mm.
Not a goddamn thing for me either. And it's very frustrating. Like, at least something, Steven. Like, give me a kernel. Like, I love horror comedy, but horror comedy needs to have a part where you're like disturbed. Nothing disturbed me except for the fact of like how much narcotic influence had on the screenplay, the directing, and everything. Because goddamn, there's nothing.
Right. And you got to use like legitimate threats, I think.
Yeah.
When you have like a truck that is one of the slowest like moving things to get up to speed, and they could just like sidestep the truck and it has to do like go a mile before it could U-turn again.
And they're so fucking loud. Like,
Yeah.
you think I'm loud. These fucking trucks are crazy.
And how many people did they sneak up on?
Oh my gosh. Like
multiple-
five.
Like 3, at least 5.
Yeah. And what's crazy, why didn't anybody try and get in one of the trucks?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I can't
remember-
do anything in there.
I remember being a kid and I had this fat-tailed gecko, and a cricket sat on his back. And at first I was like, haha, idiot. And then I was like, wait a second, that gecko's not getting him. And I've always kind of wanted to try it. But the fact is that like no threat has ever approached me in a way that I could get on his back. So if we remake it again, because it was remade in 1997 for a made-for-TV movie just called Trucks, which is the direct name of the night shift. Anyway, not doing it. In a 2002 interview with Tony Magistrali for the book Hollywood Stephen King, he stated that he was, quote, coked out of my mind all through production, and I really didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, it shows big time.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
Mm-hmm. Jim, do you think that he could have benefited from a directing for dummies?
Yeah.
What about a directing for addicts?
Yeah.
What about a directing for addicts who write in the attic?
A directing for anything.
And writing.
Yeah.
He needed a ghostwriter for this.
Seriously.
Oh my
Or somebody
God.
to be like, hey, Steven, you know what's not
Scary.
well, okay, we go back to the we're going to have an argument on this show with each other, which isn't an argument because we're all going to agree. But everything, if you allow anything that's not like microchippy to kill people, you then thereby have to allow everything. So
Right.
if you're allowing the steam engine roller guy, you then have to allow the scissors, which are 1 bolt and 2 pieces of metal, because that's mechanical, right? You need to draw lines, define shit, give me something to work with. Even bad horror movies can set up rules, Steven.
Even like in the field with the baseball players, one of the bikes seems to like slam on the front brakes and
Yeah.
the kid flips over, and then the other kid hops on the bike and he's just like, la-di-da-di-da, I'm gonna keep going, and never does the other bike go bad.
Yeah, and there's no like influence. It's not like there's a green mist that covers this thing. And you're like,
Correct.
oh, there we go. There's the contagion. There's the threat. No, it's just it's like that stupid Shenamalan movie that I haven't seen where the plants kill people.
That one makes more sense than this movie.
How?
I was
'Cause that
expecting.
Oh,
I was
sorry, go ahead.
expecting at some point there would be an explanation like this can kill people, or this has like
Right.
something's taking control of this, and they're like, oh, get off the roads, and like I thought they were gonna get off the roads and ditch the cars, and like no, they're just the hitchhiker and the guy are just happily going along in the car, and the newlyweds, and like nope, no, those cars aren't going to do anything to them.
Nope. They're
But
friendly.
the other cars clearly killed the people,
Yes.
like rolling them up in windows and
But
stuff.
Here's the
Which
easiest.
is so stupid.
The easiest argument. Why do the guns work for them if they are mechanical?
Yeah.
Yep.
Done deal. So let's move on further into the trivia before we start complaining about the movie, which we all did enjoy watching, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So I don't want to
Just
get
to
too
shit on
dour
it.
about this. Like, this movie is fucking batshit, but it's not bad. It's bad, but it's not like an excruciating watch.
it's still entertaining.
Yeah, spoiler alert. For me, this is a tragic. This is not a tragic. Like, I think that it is bad. It is very bad, but I enjoy how bad it is.
Yeah. And especially if you're watching it with friends, it's definitely one of those type of movies. Watching it alone, I think, is a little bit more difficult, but it's still entertaining.
Absolutely. Agree, Jimbo?
Yeah, I watched it alone and I was very entertained.
Did you get to watch it with no pants?
I actually did.
There you go. See, that's the thing.
That's why it was fun.
See, Chad and I need to get to the point in our friendship where we can watch it together, but with no pants and not make it weird.
I'm there. I don't know what you're talking about, man.
No, not with your squeaky duck farts. Thank you very much. I don't want stains on my couch. If you recall, this is something I'll throw Brian under the bus again.
Oh yeah, the Eminem.
The goddamn M&M. This story. The first time Brian ever sat on my brand new fucking couch, he smeared one M&M, and it was a shit streaky looking thing across the entire couch. It came out, but I'm never gonna let him live it down. Enjoy this, Brian, as you listen. Anyway, in the same interview, oh, here we go. I like this. He says, the first emotion in both horror and humor is almost childish delight. And you could see that comes from the guy who like gets titillated by his own stuff. Because the question that's prompted to him is, hey, do you ever get scared by your own stuff? Apparently he said he did during The Shining and Pet Sematary, but he's like, no, not really. But then in this, he's like, oh yeah, but it's fun. You can see that in this film because everything is him like patting himself on the back. Like, I'm going to get them.
Yeah, this movie seems like it was made for a child.
Totally. Like,
oh my God, I'm blow drying my hair and it randomly wrapped around my neck and I died. And I died also hanging halfway out a window so that you can see me. It's just so stupid.
If you fix the pacing issues around the end of the second act, this could be a really fun tweener where you show people, because it's not very gory. Apparently he was threatened with an NC-17 for gore that they had originally. And like, I would love to see that. So check this out, Jimbo. You remember the scene where the kid goes over the handlebars and he gets run over by the steamroller or whatever?
Yeah.
It's awesome. Well, originally, Stephen King gets a blood bag and shoves it inside the dummy's shirt. And he was expecting that the effect would be that when the steamroller goes over, the big wheelie thingy-majig would have a smear of blood on it. What actually happened is it shot off like a geyser and looked like his head popped off like a toothpaste cap. I would have rather seen that.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
So this ends up kind of in that weird bastard territory of like Leprechaun, where you know that it's supposed to be like horror, but it's not quite okay for kids. But this one I think is far more so. Like in terms of like the legitimate horror of it, like you might show this to a kid who's been jaywalking a lot, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. In this same interview, this fucking guy says, you know what? I don't think I'm going to direct anymore because it's a, quote, primitive way to create.
Yes.
What the
I was
fuck?
like, because you suck at it.
Jesus Christ. Anything he doesn't do well, I was like, it's kind of base level. Not a big fan. Sorry about it.
Yeah, what I have trouble with is how much he compared it of being better than The Shining.
Oh, yeah. He claims that the only reason he was interested in directing in the first place was because of fan mail he got where people were like, he ruined your work, Steven. Stanley Kubrick is the devil. What the fuck?
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
bizarre.
Not a fan. I mean, I'm a fan, but I'm not a fan. I love Stephen King because I don't love Stephen King, if that makes sense. Like, I like the frustration that he imbues me with when I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Why is she in a gangbang? But then,
Childish delight.
Oh, God.
Oh, Steven.
That's profane on a new level, Chad.
Sorry.
So
I like Stephen King for some of his base concepts and building, I don't know, a structure. But yeah, all the endings suck. Almost every single one of his endings suck. With, except for maybe like Misery.
Oh, so good. But I mean,
Shawshank Redemption.
In reading Misery,
but those are also his other ones that aren't like super straight horror.
Yeah, like Cujo or
right.
like,
Stand By Me.
Yeah, exactly. I think that he does a much better job because what do you do in horror? Either you die or you live.
Right.
Really. So happy endings are kind of an odd duck. Now, when he was talking about the whole I got shitty fan mail, blah, blah, he said that all of them had the same message. Quote, where the hell were you? You weren't there.
It must have been written by one person.
Did you like the amount of time he spent on the set of Cujo? People were like, he lived on the set. It was crazy how much time he spent on the set.
I think I heard the same thing with Langoliers, which is god awful.
I thought he directed that.
I think he co-directed with one of the other guys.
So awful.
Terrible.
No good.
Awful.
Ugh, caca.
Yeah. Tastes like penis.
Shit balls.
Jim,
join in. This is the most fun we're having.
I'm looking up Langoliers because I've never even.
They made fun of it on Rick and Morty. That brought it back because like the time thing that eats time or whatever.
We should watch it, but not review it because that's like double punishment.
Maybe we could do an audio track.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So by the way, we have the technology now. We can rebuild him. Blah blah. Whatever. Bad joke. I get it. Fuck off.
They're remaking that with Wahlberg.
Yeah, we have the technology to. Oh, don't remind me about that, dude. Oh God.
What, you don't like Marky Mark?
Dude, and the Funky Bunch. I think that if they made the $6 Million Man, but it was Ted 3, I might enjoy it. Just because it's the dumbest presence in the world. But my point is, we can do audio commentaries now. I have personally never finished an audio commentary. I've only watched like clips where it's just the best stuff. If you would like an audio commentary from slashers, let us know. We'll be happy to do one.
For sure.
We'll test it out. Anyway, oh God, I'm getting so tired of this bullshit. Stephen King said in the same interview that he believes the trick to making people scared is to make you care about the characters and then add twists to, quote, turn the reader inside out. Chad, did you care about a single character in this film? Yes or no? No explanation.
Yes.
Wow, now I actually want the explanation. Jim, did you care about any character in this film? Yes or no? No explanation.
Almost.
Me, not a one. Like, arguably the kid.
Yeah, that's the only one I was going to say. I just wanted the whole movie to be about the kid.
That'd be so much more
traveling
interesting.
through the whole town and witnessing all these people murdered and trying to find his dad. Like, that was the only thing that I thought was kind of interesting.
The moment that he got me was the face mask. I was like, yes.
Yeah, right? That was the best part. He's like, oh, yeah. Oh, great.
And then with this kid, if you did a reboot, it has to be from his perspective because you have the millennial kid who's always on his phone and he's like, oh, I need to get to my dad's work. Let me use GPS. And it's like, you are an asshole.
Fuck
you are an
you.
asshole. Yeah, right? And then like, oh, I can't use my phone. And then it's like, oh, let me use a map. What's a Thomas guide? Ugh. And so you get like the weird, because I watched the Hot Ones free plug. It's Truth or Dab. And they have Gatton Matarazzo and Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things. And these kids don't know fuck all about old technology. Like they didn't know, they knew what a VHS tape was, but they didn't know what a VCR was, right? And so that kind of like innocent, like you can get the situational comedy from that, but then you can also have the legitimate scare of like, this is a child in a very dire situation. I think that's way more compelling than Emilio Estevez.
Emilio.
Let's get it out of our system now.
There it is.
The Mighty Duck Man. All right. So Emilio said that working with Stephen King was, quote, incredible. Did you know that?
Really?
Uh-huh. And
I don't believe him.
He kind of gave him a pass in this interview because he's like, oh, well, he came from 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions and he was dealing with other people. Dealing with other people, I will give him credit for. When you're your own author, and it's my understanding that his wife, Tabitha, does a lot of editing for him and then it goes and it's almost in its final form when it gets sent. So he does not get very hands-on treatment, which is why there's certain books out there, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh,
but
she needs to edit more.
After the film, Emilio has shown it to his mother, Mama Estevez. And she says, why did you do it? And Emilio's like, oh, I really wanted to work with Stephen King. And she responds, well, couldn't you have helped him paint his house? And Emilio says, I should have.
That's great.
Because of this movie, both Emilio Estevez and Stephen King received Razzie nominations.
Wow.
Yep.
I want a whole movie just about Emilio talking with his mom now.
Seriously.
She's awesome.
Chats with Mama Estevez. So King wanted Bruce Springsteen to star in this film. The Boss. No joke.
I mean, would that have made it better or worse?
Way worse, I think.
Way worse. But my wife would have probably watched it at least.
Yeah, I don't know. It's such an obtuse idea because I've never seen him act, so I don't know if he has any credentials.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go into this. The fact that the sentence exists is very weird. So King wanted Springsteen so direly that he was like, all right, this needs to be the guy. And Dio De Laurentiis was like, you know what? Actually, you're going to have Emilio Estevez, who looks entirely different, completely different age group, completely different demographic, completely different presentation. And there are allegations, I'm going to say this sentence out loud, that Stephen King subverted his own movie because he couldn't have Bruce Springsteen and they gave him Emilio Estevez.
Oh, like a toddler throwing a tantrum.
Yeah, on cocaine.
On cocaine, which is just like a regular toddler.
Apparently, Emilio Estevez says that Stephen King will still correspond with him and ask if they're on speaking terms because he thinks that like the movie was so bad. It's kind of cute, right?
Oh.
So my last bit of trivia. On July 31st, 1985, tragedy struck the set of the film. Blah, blah. There's a radio-controlled lawnmower in it. Now, the guy who was working on set, Armando Nanuzzi, was like, hey, Steven, we don't need a blade in this. You can't see it. And Steven was like, no, you need to do it. And the guy's like, but seriously, the blade's underneath. You don't see anything. The intimidating part is what feeds the grass into the blade. Steven says no. So he hits a piece of wood, which is the support to keep it up for the shot, flies. The dude loses his right eye, sues Stephen King. They settle out of court because basically he said, you were fucking incompetent. You never should have been a director. You imperiled lives, and I suffered as a result.
It's amazing.
And he was suing for a lot, like 18 million or something.
18 million in 1987 money.
Exactly. And he settled out of court, so I guarantee he made a pretty penny.
Oh, for sure. But that's like, what, one book for Stephen? What's he care?
Yeah.
Statistics, gentlemen.
Let's do it.
Budget, $9 million. Domestic gross, $7,433,663.
Yeah.
Hey, Steven, you failed to make do on your promise to scare the hell out of anyone. I think the only person...
He scared the investors.
You know, there's that old story that the first film was of a locomotive and they played it. And when the locomotive is coming towards the camera, people ducked. Those are the only fucking people who would be scared of this fucking film.
Yeah.
Ah! But I think they'd be more afraid of the fact that there was a goblin face on a truck for reasons. The film came out July 25th, 1986. You know what else came out that weekend?
What?
Haunted Honeymoon, Heartburn, and Out of Bounds. But this is the one that matters to Chad.
Yeah.
Chad, your favorite movie of all time is?
Big Trouble, Little China.
And it came out the same goddamn month. This movie stood no chance. If you're like, hey, do you want to see a movie about a scary truck? Or Kurt Russell with a mullet and no sleeves on? I'm like, yeah.
With a guy who shoots lightning.
Like lightning. How's the rest of the... Do the Rocky Horror song for us, Chad?
I don't know this song. I'm not a music man.
Ballroom Blitz.
Oh. Yeah, the Ballroom Blitz.
There we go. Can you do it, Jim?
No, I can't.
Please, for the love of God, do it. Save me from myself. The runtime of the film, 94 minutes. Is it easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl, or can some fat be trimmed?
Fat could definitely be trimmed.
Yeah, this is one I would comfortably watch at less than 90 minutes. Like,
yes.
I think 84 minutes is much better. And I know that 10 minutes, you're like, whatever. But when you think about numbers, you're talking about cutting out about 10% of the film at that point, and I think that's what it needs.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It didn't feel overly long to me.
Not at all.
Right.
But it definitely...
When you have the girl standing outside screaming, "We made you," twice in two different scenes, you're like, okay.
We get it.
We get it.
But here's the problem. So if you have gravitas and sincerity and emotion and something serious going on, you don't realize how long you're sitting there waiting. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the fact that like the whole goddamn sewer scene, cut it. I don't care.
Yep.
You're saving a character I didn't care about. Done.
First of all, they're going into the sewer to avoid the trucks, and they still have to cross in front of the trucks to get into the sewer. Yep. So stupid.
Yes. So the movie was directed and written by Stephen King. Shocker, we've already talked about it. Music by AC/DC for their album Who Made Who.
Yeah.
Stephen King offered them a cameo because he's the reason they even got into the movie in the first place because he was such a huge fan. He offers them a cameo and they're like, hard pass, Stevie boy. Good eye, mate.
They
Can't
just
be in
knew-
your movie.
Yeah, they knew it was going to be bad.
I hope so.
Wow, that's impressive.
And if you notice in the trailer of the film, there's the Halloween 3 season of the Witch music. Kind of neat. And then you hear the Psycho ripoff for the entire fucking movie.
Yes.
God damn it, that's annoying.
And it's not good at all.
Oh, it's so overt and it's just not.
And loud, annoying. Yeah.
We agree that's the scariest part of the movie is the overuse.
Oh, God, that's fair.
Yeah.
Or like, if I hear it one more time, I'm just going to like stab myself in the shower. You know, when you're doing like I'm showering off the stank of some hooker lady, you know, you've both been there for sure. And then you just stab yourself in the chest because you can't think about the atrocities you've committed. That's where I was after watching this.
I never have that end part. I usually revel in my
Let's it
Deeds.
ruminate.
You're not spilling body fluids out of your chest cavity, but rather you're
Yep.
hoo-hoo. All right. Nicknames, snick names, prick names.
Yes.
Jim,
Jimmy, you got to carry the load on this.
do you have any?
What are we going to start with? Emilio?
Yes.
Which, I mean, come on.
As-
Emilio!
As William Bill Robinson, yes, I agree. You have to do it. Did you know that Chris Kattan's biography is called "Don't Hurt Me" and in direct reference to the night at the Roxbury, which he apparently broke his fucking spine while on Saturday Night Live and had to have like 5 surgeries in his neck.
Yes.
Poor fucking guy. But anyway, I say this because Emilio Estevez was referenced in that movie, though not appearing on screen. He is the son of Martin Sheen, the brother of Charlie Sheen, and the nephew of Joe Estevez. At this point in his career, I want to point this out because this shows you why his mom is asking, what the fuck are you doing in this movie? He had done The Outsiders, Repo Man, Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire. He wrote and starred in That Was Then, This Is Now, and this is just before he wrote, directed, and starred in the movie Wisdom.
Yep.
At 23 years old.
Yep.
That is crazy. She's so justified and be like, hey, you know how you took a hurdle backwards? Why?
I had a huge conversation with my wife about this because I was like, why did he stop making movies? And then I was looking through all the stuff he's done. I was like, oh, he doesn't need to do anything ever.
Ever, right? You have a
I
career-
can watch Breakfast Club 100 times in a row. I love that movie.
It is a classic for a good reason. I
Yeah.
mean,
And like nothing really happens. It's like kids hanging out, but the dialogue and the characters, oh, it's great.
doesn't it feel like a Tarantino film?
Yes.
Very much so.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that Tarantino has done well. I didn't like The Hateful Eight personally, but I think that he's never had a tremendous failure.
I
He's-
have a super hard on for his movie coming out.
Oh, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Well, that's his second to last movie. I mean, imagine being able to go out on your own terms and say, you know what, I'm going to make 10 movies, I'm going to be gone forever. You're not going to see me again.
Yeah. I mean, I know this is coming from him, but he's swearing it's like his best movie ever. And I just like everyone that's in it.
Well, his next movie is supposed to be a Star Trek film, which obviously I'm the target demo for.
Definitely.
But I've read multiple times that he's referred to it as a horror film.
Oh,
which
that would be awesome.
Dude, that's what I want. New Mutants to come out because I want it to exist. I want to like Brightburn, whatever. Fine, fuck off. I want to see this. I want to see superheroes against a fucking demon bear. If you've ever read the underlying referential material, it's really, really good. And so the idea of like, why not have a fucking movie set in Dagobah for you Star Wars fans? That's not Star Trek. I know. I'm trying to meet you on your terms because you're all very savage individuals who want to try and argue with me in a losing effort. My point being, imagine how cool, like one of my favorite parts about Empire Strikes Back is when Luke has that dark scene where he fights himself and like, it's so weird. Now imagine an entire movie kind of like Far From Home where somebody doesn't know what the fuck they're seeing and they're trying desperately to survive in an environment that's trying to kill them, like Robin Williams in Jumanji.
I just rewatched that with my kids.
So good.
Loved it.
David Alan Grier is a fucking gem.
For sure.
All right. What's his nickname? It's Emilio, right?
Emilio. We
Okay.
have to. Unless you got one better, Jimmy.
No.
No, you don't.
Okay. This is going to be the worst one. Pat Hingle as Bubba Hendershot.
Yeah, because he's Bubba, yet he calls everyone else Bubba.
Yep.
And it's just weird.
Not a fan.
No.
And the character doesn't really do anything. Can we just call him the boss guy?
Just call him, the boss or dipshit.
Let's call him dipshit instead because
Dipshit.
the boss is referential to, of course, Bruce Springsteen.
Oh,
Moving
that's
on.
true.
Laura Harrington as Brett Graham. She was in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Did you add that note?
I did add that note.
Very good. I was like, I didn't note that. So what are we calling her?
Can we call her
lady.
Bart?
Grapes.
Bart?
She did say, "Eat my shorts."
Yeah, she does.
Yeah,
Okay.
she does.
That'll be one of our
And
two.
Brett Bart. I mean, it's close enough.
Yeah, not Bright Bart, just to make sure. Brett Bart.
Bart.
Okay, so we have Bart, and we might as well just go straight into the Yeardley Smith as Connie, who is obviously Lisa Simpson. And if you know your Simpsons lore, you will know that Homer is in an episode called Maximum Overdrive, where he's driving the big rig and he falls asleep and he realizes they're all automated.
Oh, I actually
Classic.
have not.
Oh, well, you should have. You should have done your research.
I
Chord.
definitely should have.
Jesus Christ on a shingle. I don't know. John Short is Curtis. Don't care. Wanda, Handy, Brad is the guy who gets killed at the end. He lives through 98% of the movie, and then he's
Does he
stealing
wanna-
a ring and gets killed.
Yeah.
What a fuckwit. I love it. Well, none of these people fucking matter. Are we done with nicknames already? Oh.
Yeah, they really. Well, what about the boy? The boy's the only one that kind of sticks around.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it's Duncan or if it's Deke. It's Deke, right? Yeah.
Okay.
It's not J.C. Quinn. So it's Deke Keller or Duncan Keller. His dad is the one who shoots gasoline into his own eyes.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? Jesus.
Oh.
So, yeah. What are we calling the kid?
I don't know. He's like the real character, the real hero, unlike everyone calling Emilio a hero. That
That's
kid's
true.
awesome. I don't know.
What do you got, Jimbo? Dennis the Menace, because he's got
Ooh.
blonde hair. He rides around on a bicycle, and he's all like,
The baseball
"Meh."
cap.
Yeah, that works.
I kind of wish that he did something proactive, though. Like, what if he used his slingshot to, like, distract a truck or something
Right.
beyond just looking at the aftermath of horror, right?
The only thing that they give him, which was really lame, was the food talking,
Yeah.
the drive-through, and
The
he's
drive-thru.
like, "This is for my dad," and blows it up with a machine gun.
That's very true. But it's not juvenile, right? It's like that's a very adult thing to do. And
Right,
I
but
think that
he should have killed a truck or even the main last truck. Something like that
Emilio
would have
doesn't
been much
deserve
better. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He does.
this is revenge. This is fucking poetry. This is Shakespeare. This is I am Hamlet. Anyway, ready to move on? Sorry. We can call him Hamlet too, if you want. I don't know. Which is better, Hamlet or... No, it's not, because he doesn't get the revenge. Sorry, I'm fucking crazy. It's Dennis the Menace moving on. Jim, you are in charge of
All
recapitation.
right, recapitation. So, Earth passes through the tail of a comet, and all the electronics or mechanical devices start turning on
Much
the
better.
humans, and it starts killing everybody. And we've got some people trying to survive, and that's pretty much it. And they do survive, most of them,
Yeah. And
surprisingly.
he
Yeah.
gave you a copious amount of detail, motherfuckers. This is not like a very vague recapitation. Like, it's
Oh.
perfect. It's crazy. Like, stuff happens, people live is a pretty great way of doing it. So I commend you on your first recapitation, knocking it out of the park. Brian, watch your back.
Oh,
Jim Turn is going to take a Jim Turn for the worst or best. I don't know. I was just excited about making a pun with the word turn in it. I'm sorry. Are you ready to start the sleigh by play? Chord?
Sure, let's do it. Do you want to reread that quote? Since the movie starts out with a quote and it's ridiculous.
On June 19th, 1987 at 9:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Earth passed an extraordinarily diffuse tail of Rhea M, a rogue comet. According to astronomical calculations, the planet would remain in the tail of the comet for 8 days, 5 hours, 29 minutes, and 23 seconds.
Stupid. So
This is clearly from a writer because he's like, hey, I'll just tell them everything that happens in a paragraph. No, show me, you whore. It goes like...
exactly. And
God.
no character is going to know this information. Only the viewers are going to.
And when he gives it to the hitchhiking girl, and
Yes.
she's like, oh yeah, it's this comet that I heard of, blah. And then Emilio Estevez, with no fucking context, with no proof, is like, imagine you're an alien and you're chasing a comet. How the fuck would you know, parolee?
Exactly. Both of these people have no classifications for figuring this out. Or also, if it's like machinery, I was like, why wouldn't bombs just be going off like military?
Yeah, dude.
All the
It's like,
rockets.
oh, yeah, missiles. Exactly.
Skynet. That's all it is.
Nuke 'em. Anyway. So after that quote pops up on the screen, we start with machines just getting salty. Is that the correct word?
Fuck you.
Is
Fuck
salty
you.
still relevant?
Fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm kind of old. I don't know what that means. But
I think nowadays
Googled
it's stanky.
Stanky leg. All right. Anyway, so we end up seeing in front of a bank a marquee sign is just saying "fuck you," and that
Super
part's
subtle.
funny. It's great,
Well, I like it a lot because I was like, did I just awesome?
right? And
I
so
didn't
this
remember
is,
that when I was a kid.
This is the type of stuff that like made it interesting in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because then you get Stephen King walking up to the bank to take out money, and he basically puts his card in, and the screen's just telling him he's an asshole.
You are an asshole.
Asshole.
Come over here, sugar buns. This machine just called me an asshole.
And then we cut to a bridge where one guy's picking his nose. They're hanging out. I don't get why he makes all his characters like extremely dumb.
Yeah. Well, they're either dumb or fucking omniscient.
Yes. There's no like in between unless you're maybe a main character and that's it.
Yeah. And so they're playing cards, picking noses.
But they control a hydraulic huge bridge.
And why is there two of them for the one job? This is a weird thing. Like,
Right.
I don't know. At first, I thought they were an air traffic controlling tower.
Yeah.
And it's for one bridge.
Yep.
Weird.
So you see the knobs on the bridge turn and the bridge starts rising up, but the traffic lights are green. So all the trucks and cars are still driving onto the bridge.
It's a much more realistic representation of it. It's not like they're ramping off and shooting across. They're accelerating up it. So they're at a very static place when it's up.
Right. And the bridge is super slow motion. So some of the trucks and cars get up pretty high before, they can like really stop, and they can't turn around because it's a bridge. This scene was probably one of the most entertaining scenes, I'd say.
Oh, no doubt, for sure. This is my favorite scene in the whole film.
Right. So
Well, I take that back. The best scene is the baseball.
the steam.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Steamroller. So the bridge goes up and just cars start tumbling down. Motorcycle slides down. Guy slides off the bridge. A lot of just chaotic stuff. You see an AC/DC van get smashed.
Which they're playing the AC/DC music at that point, which is pretty dope.
And then you get watermelons everywhere. It's such a weird scene because there's just watermelons off of a truck breaking all over the floor. One's flying through the air through a sunroof into a girl's car. And it's like high, and I don't know how it would have ever gotten that high.
You want to know something fun?
Yeah, let's hear it.
That woman was almost the Madam President. Marla Maples is one of the ladies in the car, and she was the second and only American wife of Donald Trump, who started off as his mistress. They married in 1993 and divorced in 1999.
Wow.
That's how deep I went into this. I plunged it. But anyway, continue.
So from
Marla does
there-
not steal the show.
No. So from there we cut to
Oh, sorry. The controllers then end up just yelling at each other.
Yes.
But they do not establish that either of them tried to use the controls to fix the situation.
yes. One's just like yelling, "You're an idiot. This is an emergency," or something. It's really stupid.
Why wouldn't you just take a shot inside where they're like fiddling with the knobs that aren't working and then they're yelling at each other as opposed to them being outside? Like,
Exactly.
then it just goes to further human error. So it's like, oh, okay, they are still stupid and booger eaters, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue. Sorry, it was
So-
super weird.
We cut to the first scene where you see the Green Goblin truck.
Who is the star of the film?
Yes, but again, downplayed greatly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, in the short story Trucks, there is no centrifugal character, and I
Right,
think that
but
this
you
is
need like a
hugely
head
important.
villain, and I
Exact-
feel like they do not fill that role with this truck.
'Cause he's-
Emilio Estevez comes up and talks to it once.
Yep.
You see him a couple times like moving. He doesn't even kill anyone, I don't think. He misses the guy.
He reverses back
backs
and
up
hits him
into
into the creek, and he ends up dying later.
Yeah, right. But that's like the only one. Like this is, I don't know. Anyway,
He should have been more,
you could have reduced the amount of trucks and gave this truck a lot more of like the evil intent.
for sure. Look at Christine.
Right,
The way that
exactly.
they shoot that car, it even if it's not scary, it looks malevolent. Whereas in this, it's just like, oh, You literally have a face with red eyes, but I am not intimidated by you at all.
Exactly.
And they don't have a whole lot of fun with it either. I don't know. It's weird. So pretty clearly it's Pennywise on the back of it, right?
Yeah. There's a big clown painted on the back of the truck. So this truck pulls up into the Dixie Boy, which we talked about on the weekly or Wednesday warm-up, where it doesn't make much sense because the logo is a comet, but it says Dixie Boy, so it's kind of funky marketing, I guess. Cocaine again.
That idea can suck my Dixie, boy.
Boy.
Maybe that's why all the trucks were coming here for diesel, because of the comet.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're here.
That makes sense. That's actually a very salient point. It's like, oh, home.
So the truck goes to the Dixie Boy.
Did you notice that inside the diner, the radio's not working and they're like yelling at each other? This felt like the opening of Legion.
Yes, it did. It did.
I don't know if it was supposed to be like a referential thing or if it was just lazy film production on their side, but I was like, oh, this is very familiar.
Right. And everyone is just awful to the waitress.
Oh, God.
Hey, sugar. Hey, sweetie. Hey, tits. I don't know if they say that, but everything's like that.
Sugar boobs.
So the truck driver comes out, says, fill her up. He goes in to the Dixie Boy. And then we have Emilio!
Slinging hash.
Yes.
He's the cook.
Yes.
And then it cuts immediately to a black guy who, what's the first words out of his mouth? You know it?
Oh.
The pinball machines are breaking, and he says, yo, mama.
That's right.
What?
Oh, Stephen King.
And it's such a weird cut, too. Like, the very short shot of the pinball machine, like, freaking out. And he's like, yo, mama.
It's so weird. It's so obtuse. It's like...
And, of course, in Stephen King fashion, it gets worse.
Oh, yeah. He then becomes a thief.
Yes.
Son of a bitch. So the change machine starts flowing, the cigarette machine, the coffee machine, and he's just stuffing his pockets.
Yes.
Great. Super progressive Steve-O, man.
Very good.
Classic
So,
Stephen King, though.
then
If you've read any of his work, it's almost always this, where either there is the expression, the mystical blank word that I'm not going to say, even though I've read To Kill a Mockingbird. Anyway, continue. You're either that or you're a bad person.
So Emilio gets called into his office by Dick. What's his face? What do we call him?
Dipshit.
Gets called into the dipshit's office, and he pretty much says, hey, I want you to work 9 hours and only clock in for 8 because I'm not paying you overtime. And Emilio's like, no. And
he's like, Emilio, no.
And he's like, see this star on your time card? It means you're a parolee, so you're going to do it no matter what, or else you're going back to jail. And yeah, so then we cut back to the black man who is in the arcade, which I've never seen an arcade that filled inside like a truck stop. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, but you're forgetting my favorite part of this whole movie when I was a kid. Well, at least this part that visually stuck out to me the most.
Which one?
The electric knife.
Oh,
it's dumb.
That's right.
So I can see why you'd forget it, but I can never look at an electric knife because these apparently were really prevalent in the 70s and 80s, but I never see them anymore because now we have like Japanese steel knives that can cut through fucking hammers and stuff.
And pennies, yeah.
Yeah. So the waitress is sitting there. She's slinging hash because Emilio's been gone in his meeting with Dipshit. It starts vibrating. It cuts her arm. There's a complete psycho ripoff with the sound. It falls on the floor. It cuts her foot. And then Emilio,
this is great,
imbued with the worthiness of Thor himself, lifts a hammer and smashes the fucking thing. And then it cuts the arcade.
Right.
Sorry, Chad.
No, that's a very good point. And he takes like 4 hits to destroy the thing. And everyone's just standing around watching. It's great.
Ye verily, crash.
So then we're in the arcade. The black gentleman has everything covered, or he has like everything stuffed into his pockets, and he's about to walk out. And one of the machines, do you know which one of the machines it was?
Was it Magic Castle or something like that?
Magic Castle, maybe?
Space Castle?
Space? I don't know. Anyway, it starts sending out weird images that seems to hypnotize him, and he grabs it and gets electrocuted and dies.
This is pretty hacky.
Yeah.
Like, I get that it's supposed to be a fun special effect, but it just doesn't mesh.
Right.
The idea of like inducing a seizure and then him falling and hitting his head, I think is way more interesting because the idea being like, that's relatable. That could totally happen. And I think that would be a nice ramping up. Because here you go from this crazy scene with watermelons and the bridge and everything, and then to kind of downplay it to a very relatable situation with just like a seizure and head trauma instead of come on.
But even
Steve.
I don't think even a seizure would have translated to make it a good way to die on this movie.
No,
And
but
the electrocution's like, well, why can't everyone just be electrocuted by all this stuff around us?
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It sets up a different rule because like
Yeah.
you and I, because we watched it together. Like when they're using the fucking flashlight later, why doesn't the flashlight shock them? Why doesn't this do this? Like every single fucking thing. Like when they turn on the lights with the light switch, why doesn't that electrocute them?
Right.
There's so many things where you're like this just
Exactly.
inherently doesn't
So
make
when
sense.
they go to like the burger shop and it's saying human alert, why wouldn't the radio inside the place where she's trying to get it to work be like, you're going to die? Something like that.
Yeah,
Anything.
exactly.
Anyway, so
I'm gonna get riled up, so I'm trying to be cool because I'm like, I did like the movie. I just think that it doesn't make any but fucking sense at
right.
all.
So Dipshit yells like, "What's going on in there now?" And they run in and find the guy dead.
Jim, do you want to walk us through the baseball scene?
Sure.
Yeah,
Do it. It's the best one.
It is the best. It actually has my favorite part in the movie.
Slay the
Yeah.
game.
But I think so. For
I
me,
think-
at
I
least.
I
think
think
we-
so, for sure. I think we
Well,
all agree.
Actually, I think it's probably different for me than for you, but in the same scene.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
But so it starts off with some kids playing in a baseball game, and they win very quickly, and the other team absolutely disappears in like a second.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Getting the fuck out of Dodge.
And,
fuck sportsmanship. I'm not shaking your hand.
They were just there 1 second, and they gone the next. And then the coach is like, "Well, let's get some sodas." And he goes over to the machine and
Buy you cool kids some pop.
yeah, and he's putting coins in, and then out starts flying the cans. That was actually my favorite. It was so
Him?
ridiculous. Yeah, the
Yeah,
soda
yeah.
death.
The acting in the soda death is great. He's like, it was great.
The soda is so dumb, but I love it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
So
can I mention the carbonated vasectomy? That's what I'm calling it. It's hitting the nads. So
Yes.
good. And you've seen so many things replicate that.
yeah,
This even reminds me of the Make 7 Up Yours Orlando Jordan guy who remember they had like the tank Sprite can that was going on the beach and shooting people?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
At our age group, most people were just like, oh, that's fun. And I was like, it's Maximum Overdrive. And people were like, you're fucking weird.
It's the part where you say, "Eddie, pull that up for me."
Who?
Eddie?
Eddie?
Joe Rogan.
Oh, I thought his name was Jamie.
Is it Jamie? I thought it was Eddie.
I don't know.
Maybe it is Jamie.
I think it is Jamie.
Sorry, bud. That makes
But
sense.
anyway, definitely.
That's what you're doing.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, fun fact. That was supposed to be your job, intern bitch. But Brian left.
Okay, so he gets hit in the crotch and then gets hit in the face. And then he's got this big old, it's almost a hole.
Yeah, it is.
Right, yeah.
and then the machine's going for like the kids. And at
It
this
hits
point,
the one kid in the low back and he
He's like,
eats
"Ah!"
shit.
That's
I
great.
was telling my wife, like, I would take the pay cut to be the guy who gets to throw soda cans at kids. Keep going.
but the like arc on the cans at this point is just like someone's just kind of lobbing them.
For sure.
Right. Because the
There's no
opening,
line drive at all.
the opening is like so low to the ground, yet it's shooting all the way across the field. It doesn't make any sense.
And then so who is it? What's his name?
Dennis the
kid,
Menace.
Dennis the Menace comes up and puts on his mask and blocks one and goes to the coach and he's like there with his head.
Army crawls to him. It's
Army
like
crawls to
totally
him.
the coolest part. I think.
Also, like the way he like fends it off is very like Captain America.
Yes.
He's like, ping,
Yeah,
you can't touch me.
Not today.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
And
only
then he's
badass
like,
move in the
I
whole
can
movie.
do this all day, right?
And so he checks on his coach and then he's like dopes out of there and he's running. And then
His other friends on the bicycle.
yeah,
Yes.
his friend on the bicycle gets, it's like he stuck a freaking stick in his own spoke and just flips over the handlebars. And then the
Steamroller.
steamroller out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Through the
Scoreboard.
and it gets the kid. And I thought that was a good one too. I was like, ooh.
That's, I think, my slay of the game. Is that one yours too, Chad?
I think so too. Because
It's
you're
so
like,
weird.
oh, they're gonna get out. He's gonna like get out of it, and it's just gonna smash the bike or something. And you're like, oh no, Stephen King went for it and just smushes the kid completely.
Seriously, after like having that remorseful moment with Cujo and saying, "Oh, the kid should have lived like 5 minutes in this one," it's like kid death.
Yep.
Can't waste any more time.
Yeah,
So,
and then the kid gets out of there.
Right. And then this is where it gets a little interesting too, because the kid just starts riding his bike through the city.
Very post-apocalyptic.
Right. But the kid doesn't have like any emotion on at all.
Yeah.
Maybe if you say he's in shock or something, but he just starts seeing dead body after dead body after dead body after seeing his friend just get smushed. And he's kind of just stoic and didn't say anything. Seems to just be like, oh, I'm going to go find my dad.
Yeah, and this is something where if he was more proactive, that is the steely resolve of a hero. If he's just sitting there kind of catatonic, it's like, all right, you're just a kid. Like, that's fine. But this is where we get the cut to the girl who's hitchhiking with the guy. There's all those shitty little religious comics everywhere. And effectively, he talks about being a peddler of fake religious wares. He tries filling her up multiple times. Just weird. As they pull into the gas station, she's leaving. She's like, get off of me. And the goblin car starts revving. It drives, but it's not, so it's being filled up and it rips out. She saves him, which is weird that she's saving the guy who's assailing her. And then he backs up into the guy. It's Pennywise. He falls in the creek.
Yes.
This is where we go to the just married couple. Who's taking the just married couple with Lisa Simpson and Mr. Lisa?
I hate this character so much. She just screams the whole entire movie in a very high-pitched sound.
I love it.
But anyway, they're just married. They're driving on the freeway. They stop for directions, right?
Yes, I think so. Because I don't think they fill up at all.
Yeah, they just get out and they instantly see a dead body. She screams, of course, because all she does is scream. And then a big truck comes out from like behind a bunch of destroyed trucks, like just a junkyard. And it tries to run over the husband.
Oh, this is after he walks out of the gas station. Because there's, if I'm not mistaken, the clock is going backwards and there's blood smeared on it, which is like...
Oh, that's right. He does see a little bit more blood everywhere else. Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but keep going. I only remember it because it's like there's no real gore in the movie. And it's like, how the fuck did somebody get blood smeared on a clock on the wall? Like,
right. Yeah. And it's just spinning around and around. Yeah, you're right.
No.
And there's blood on the floor on the wall, but there's no... I guess a truck hit him and it smacked into like the whole wall, I guess, which would have been much cooler to see.
For sure. Show me that, not the aftermath.
Right. Anyway, the truck tries to run him over and kind of runs over a pole and hits into the, I don't know, gas station or whatever it is. The girl screams again. He's fine. He gets back to his wife. They hug. They get back in the car. And then they drive to the Dixie Boy.
Yep.
But the truck starts chasing them.
Exactly.
Yep.
Emilio is then checking the truck. There's the goblin car. The girl spooks him as they walk away. And she's like, you're cute. And he plays nonchalant. He goes, you ever see that much nothing at 10 in the morning, hero? I was like, what the fuck are you people babbling about?
Yes, this part was really strange because they kind of have a talk about... You think that these characters have met before.
Yeah, to the point where Chad and I were like, I don't remember him having like a former girlfriend or something. It seemed like she was deliberately going to this gas station to find him.
Right.
She's so overtly interested. But that's one of the Stephen King things where every guy who's like, it's like Clive Cussler with that fucking character of his where it's like every woman must suck his cock off. Right? Like, This is clearly what Stephen thinks of himself. He's this stoic guy with a grim, grisly past who's bleh.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you get the same vibe?
I just thought it was super awkward, really awkward, and I didn't understand what they were trying to do, if anything.
And let me ask you this, and not to delve too much into your personal life on the show, but like you are a much more meek or at least reserved individual. Your wife is very overt, even for that. Even with your life, this is super weird, right?
Yeah,
like to the point where I was like. Like I've never seen a woman be so direct that wasn't immediately a joke. Where it's like a prank, like gotcha. You thought I was gonna suck your cock off, but instead,
outside of a porno, yeah,
you're on YouTube. Oh yeah, of course, outside of a porno, for sure. All right, and blah 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 blah. I don't like them. Kids on the street, sprinkler. All the sprinklers go off in unison, and then it makes a very well framed shot where he's riding down the center, and it's like these arching things. It reminded me of like a music video, right?
Oh, for sure. Which again, it's just a really dumb scene that makes no sense, but the visual was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I thought it was funny because he was like, he didn't see them.
Right.
Like they're behind him, and he kind of stops and he's like,
turns around, they shut off.
Oh, something weird is going on here. It wasn't all those dead people. Like,
right. Yeah.
Well, and you see the sprinkler faucet turn, And that's where Chad and I like lost our minds. I started like listing things like what makes something a machine? Faucet, 2 pieces of metal, doors, scissors, staple remover. Think of all these things that are very primitive that you have then implicitly said are machines that should be able to kill people.
Exactly.
What about a zipper? It's more than one piece of articulating metal.
Yeah.
Zip that dick.
That's a scary
when
movie.
Emilio, yeah. Even when Emilio is pumping the gas, the car has like a valve that the truck turns by itself too, which is outside of the truck.
So if it's a pump and the pump can thereby be mechanical or pneumatic or however you want to say it, why can't we have seen these things move independently without any kind of articulating force. So why couldn't it lift up the hose to fill up the car? Like logically,
why can't the hose
it doesn't make
itself
sense.
do it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Has the same mechanics as anything else.
Precisely. Now I'm
Stupid
going to
Steven.
freak out. So keep going.
So the boy goes.
Well, this is the dog.
Oh yeah, the dog too. As you're seeing all the dead people everywhere, a girl's like dead from a window, choking her. Another guy's dead, just hanging out of his VW. You also see a dog in the street with a toy car in his mouth, dead.
You got the headphones guy, the blow dryer woman. These are all like very clever little things that Stephen King did. Like, oh, look how I came up with these ideas for these machines to kill people. You don't get to see the machines kill the people, though, because I blew my budget on a bridge with watermelons.
Exactly.
Oh, no, wait. I haven't blown all of it yet. I have a lot of explosions to work in because I'm on cocaine and this is the 80s.
Yep.
Jim, would you trade in every explosion in this film to watch these people die with these devices?
Most of them. I kind of enjoyed them at the end. I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
Like, did they really just do all that? Like, blow up all that? But yeah, I'd trade some of it.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'll take 3 of the explosions away and get 3 of these kills. I think that's
Yeah, there
fair.
you go.
All right. And so I attributed this kind of like to Steve, his work in Cujo when he's doing all the advertising work for the stupid cereal company. And he's like, look how clever I am. And I was like, you're not clever, Steven. Stick to books. You're not an ad man. Just like this. You're not a horror guy, like a
Right.
visual horror guy.
I was hoping that the deaths would be more like the Final Fantasy movie, where it's like a series of things working together that are all electronic or like,
Final
stuff
Destination?
like that. Oh yeah, Final Destination.
Jesus Christ.
Final
I thought
Fantasy. I was like,
I was like,
Spirits
yeah,
Within?
Final Fantasy.
that's what I was like. I definitely
Guy
misremembered
with
this
a huge
movie.
sword coming out. Final Destination.
Oh,
Sorry.
do you know how many people have come to tell me that they're remaking Final Fantasy VII as if I give a shit, dog? I don't have fucking time. I'm too busy adding motherfuckers on Facebook trying to get them to listen to this show.
Jimmy cares.
I care.
I know he cares.
I care.
I give lots of shits.
So the boy finds his way to a sewer, correct?
Sure.
And then we cut to the car with the newlyweds again. And they see a large convoy of the trucks driving around the quickie, whatever, right? Dixie Boy?
Yeah.
Okay. So they...
Oh, yeah. The hitchhiker girl is changing in the bathroom, right? She uses the toilet. Why doesn't the toilet kill her? Because it could be a machine, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's my thinking. Anyway, keep
I
going.
mean, it has a handle, it flushes, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So they see a big...
I'd at least smear shit on her if I was the toilet. But keep going,
It
Chad.
could
Sorry.
spit water back up.
Pull an exorcist.
Yeah. So the newlyweds need to get through a giant ring of trucks that are circling the Dixie Boy. And the wife's going like, don't do it. And he's like, no, there's an opening. I'm going to make it. They gun it. They don't make it. And it's one of the dumbest like flipping of a car.
And this
The
is
truck
coming. Yeah.
hits the back like wheel and it just like flips completely over backwards. Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Tail
the
up.
problem. It's a very linear flip, even though it would be coming at a perpendicular angle, so it would flip it sideways, not vertically. But Chad and I have both seen our fair share of the A-Team.
Oh yeah.
In every episode of the first season of the A-Team, every single one, there is a car that flips onto its side.
Yeah.
Even being that desensitized to bad shit, I saw this and I was like, God damn it, this is bad.
Well, we also skipped over the part about the bridge where the truck's like stuck on the middle and then the whole axle with the wheels just completely fall off the truck.
Oh, and goes down backwards.
Yeah, and goes down backwards, and you're like, I don't think that would happen.
Nope.
Ever.
Or the fact where the truck crushes the phone booth.
Yes.
They're not on the same side?
Right.
What is that? Or then there's another one. I have a question for you. Why doesn't the cash register kill the clerk?
Right.
God damn it.
Or at least be freaking out. There's so many things that are just not moving at all.
And it's not presented as though they're laying in wait.
Right.
Like if you're the watch band on the guy's wrist, why aren't you cinching to the point where he cuts off circulation and he has a heart attack or something? Right? These are the things that keep me up at night. So no, I've chosen Jim. Jim, then what happens?
Where are we?
This is where Emilio saves them in the car for
no
reason.
Emilio and Gilbert Grape run out there.
Bart.
And Bart. Straight. Well, she pulls out a straight razor from her.
Oh, he does. He gives it to her later, yeah.
Oh, does he?
But you're
No.
correct in remembering it.
She pulls it out and
pulled it
gives
out.
it to him
'Cause
because he couldn't get the seatbelt off.
Yeah, and her reasoning was
so he gives it back.
protection.
Yeah, because she's the drifter, man.
I thought that she
She's the
gave
one
it to
that-
her as like a gift.
Cutting
No,
the,
she pulls it out of her boots or
Yeah.
Does he
something.
shave with it at all?
I don't think so. I think he
feel
just
like
gives
he
it
shaves
back.
with it, dog.
Oh, maybe he does.
I don't give a fuck.
Like you mean when he's licking the sweat off her forehead?
Gross.
Rubbing his finger on her sweat and then
I think I made a note about that, though. Him being on parole, so he's using a straight razor instead of a knife because he can't be carrying a knife. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? Continue, Brian. Oh, I almost called him Brian. I miss Brian. Oh, God. No, I don't. Good riddance, you fucking goon.
he's dead to us.
Keep going, Jim. Keep going,
So
Brian.
they pick them up and out of the car, and a crazy lady's screaming in her voice and flipped upside down. And they pull them out and then run back. And I don't know. They get back and
Yeah. This is when you get dipshit with the rocket, right?
Yeah, well,
Is it?
the truck explodes before running off the hill. If you remember that when it's chasing them because it like jackknifes or whatever,
That's
and
right.
then it explodes at the bottom of the hill. And so this is a question I had. How am I supposed to be scared when the girl who, like you mentioned, is screaming is using words like squash?
Right.
Squash isn't a word that you use. Crush is a word that you use.
Yes.
Squash is like, oh.
Squash
It's a
is like
gourd.
if you were a grandma.
Yeah.
You're
We're
going
gonna
to get
squash some
squashed.
grapes and we're gonna have some wine. I like to call it vino when I'm with my friends playing bridge because we like to have some fun. We're a little crazy.
Yes. So this is also where I think one of the trucks is coming directly at them, and this is the first time you see dipshit come out with an anti-tank missile.
it's like a RGP.
Yeah.
Rocket propelled
RPG?
grenade. Yeah. Rocket propelled grenade.
Yeah.
It's all right, man. If you ever use one in real life, then you don't need to remember it. So yeah, blows that shit up, right? And do you remember what's in the truck, Jimothy?
Toilet paper.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chad and I were like,
I would have cried.
Chad and I are sitting there like, ready to rumble. We need to do this movie. I need the fan support. You motherfuckers, please do this for me.
It's such a great movie.
You need to vote. Send us support for the idea to do a Slash Action Hero episode of the podcast on Ready to Rumble.
Hey, we need tons of Patreon. We'll just do Patreon episode of it.
I don't think that they're going to want to watch it. So if you're a patron or whatever, please let us know because I want to do Ready to Rumble so bad. It's one of my favorite movies.
It's really good.
I mean, there's shit in it. That's scary.
Yeah.
Sting is in it. That was back when Sting was the Crow ripoff,
Yep.
right?
The acting is scary.
He's homophobic, so that's
Yes.
scary. What else do we have? Yeah, Jimmy King pukes on people.
Yep.
Sal Mandini, that's kind of a horrifying scene.
There's crabs in it.
Oh, yeah, you got an itchy crotch.
Have you ever seen crabs up close?
Hey, you wanna? Please. So we have slasherspod@gmail.com. We're at slasherspod on Instagram, at slasherspod on Twitter, which we never use. Facebook.com
no one's gonna email
slash
you. You're
spod.
gonna have to make a vote thing on Instagram. That's the only way.
All right, it's getting done. All right. So then this is where the girl puts the straight razor in her boot, and it's the worst acting ever. And he says, if I put my arm around you, would you stick me with that thing? You can't stick someone with a straight razor, you idiot. It doesn't have a point.
But
as an
she
edge.
does correct him on it.
I know. Keep going.
Okay, then we
This
also
is where she crowbars in the title of the film.
Yes.
She says they've been back. I was like, fuck you. Fuck you.
and she's all like happy and sultry, and then instantly she's crying, and then she's fine. It's very strange. But I don't know if the scene's in between this one or after, But then you get Emilio going into the bathroom to talk to the fat guy while he's taking a shit, and he's totally just like, kind of like what I sound like right now. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but yeah. Anyway,
Duck butt.
yeah, lots of duck butt.
Well, one thing I liked going back was that he's shorter than she is, which is funny.
Yes,
Him
definitely.
being, Emilio. But yeah, when it goes to that scene, basically the guy who's shitting is like, I'm so desperate to be left the fuck alone. I'll tell you about the secret cache of weapons underneath this diner if you let me shit in peace, mighty duck boy.
And Emilio is like, well, what does he have down there? What does he have? And the fat guy's like, everything.
Yeah. And then we cut to that scene in the desert from T2. Da, 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 when they pull the fucking thing and there's the minigun and there's the T-800 lifts the kid by his suspenders and they have that tearful moment. You remember that? You remember that movie, right?
Oh, I haven't seen that in forever.
Dude, that's one of my favorite movies too.
Dude, it's so good. But hot take, RoboCop's better than any Terminator film, even though it came later and it used the Terminator theme in its trailer. Did you not?
Nope.
You're welcome.
I disagree, but okay.
This is not an opinion.
It's damn facts. Okay, so are you saying that RoboCop is not as good as T2 or T1 and T2? Or T1?
I think T2.
Okay, I'll allow that. I could definitely see how, especially given your age. Because you're old as fuck. You would have been a kid when that came out. Kidding. All right, let's move on. So, the plane's flying, which has the flight of the Valkyries. The little kid hides in the bush. Doesn't do anything. Makes no sense.
A lot
Pointless.
of wasted money for a plane to fly over.
It's so dumb. I guess the only thing I took from it was that maybe it was being referential to the end of Trucks, which in the short story, the guy who's Emilio is looking up in the sky and he sees the planes flying and he wonders if there's even people in it. And that's the end of the short story. Super dumb.
Stupid.
So, then they fuck. Oh, no, wait. You find out that Emilio went to jail for robbing a liquor store. He threatened the boss with a gun. Why would you store a loaded firearm? Dory?
Yeah, but he just picks a random gun and the owner's like, oh my God. So they all must be loaded?
Which is crazy. I mean, it's
And
crazy to have a
there's
fucking
tons of
bazooka,
guns.
but yeah.
Right. Definitely.
Not a fan. I always get really critical of poor firearm safety. And, this is where you and I are like both out loud. Like, why doesn't the gun shoot at him?
Exactly.
Like, if the gun is in the business of killing people, they should all just kill him.
Oh, I'm sorry. It has to be attached to a random truck and then it shoots people.
Right.
So stupid.
So then
Which
it
you're
cuts.
still pulling a trigger. Ah!
Emilio Estevez takes Bart Simpson and raw dogs him. Oh my God. Which makes Bart Simpson reply, "You sure make love like a hero." Fuck you.
Oh,
God damn it. Nobody ever said that in real life.
never.
Because I would know. Because if somebody said it, it would be my wife to me. Shut it, you.
Oh.
They look out the window.
Now
and
she's going to say it and you're going to know it's fake.
I would rather have it be fake than nothing at all.
Just silence, rolling over and going to sleep.
Yeah, this is where a little bit of weeping. You know, I'm the one weeping. She's the one who's like, "Pull it together, bitch."
Are you the one that cries after and you ask to be held?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just wondering.
It's okay. Like, I just try and make sure I don't have beans on night, so I'm going to be the little spoon. Anyway, they look out the window, they see the green glowing light, and then she's like, "Oh, you know, it's funny. I think I totally realized that we're in the tail of a comet, and I know exactly
Yes.
it's going to be 7 days."
Let me be the smartest character and just randomly give you the entire time frame and plot.
And then he comes up with some stupid idea, and she says, and I quote, "You not only fuck like a hero, but you are a genius."
Yep.
On what butt fucking crazy Twilight Zone planet is that?
Oh.
That makes no fucking sense.
Yep.
You guys aren't as upset about this.
Oh, I just feel it deeply.
Right. The jukebox breaks. There's a Danny McBride lookalike who's flirting with the waitress, and she leaves screaming, and she said, "We made you! We expected some loyalty!" And that's how I feel when my daughter puts shit in the trash can or flips the dog food bowl or whatever. I'm going to just start yelling that at her all the time.
Dude, you have so much more to look forward to.
Oh, I can't wait. Not.
So this is where we also hear the Bible salesman like
I'm
moaning
dying.
across the way into a ditch. and they're like, we're gonna go save that piece of shit.
Because reasons, which I actually like way better in the story, the short story.
Oh yeah,
the girl
no,
and
that's
yeah.
I agree with you totally.
Go for it then.
No, continue. I just had to agree with you before you said it.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad. Not only is he a prima donna, but he's also a precognitive.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So in the book, the guy is dying in the ditch, and the girl is like, "Do you hear that?" And he goes, "No, I don't hear that." And he looks at the boy because they're all sleeping, and he's like, "And if you wake him up, he might hear that." And basically, the guy's like, "Look, you're gonna put everybody's lives in jeopardy for that fucking guy. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Sit the fuck down. Don't say a fucking word." And she just sits there and they listen to him die.
Yep. And he says, "Do you hear it?" And she goes, "Nope."
Nope.
It's great.
Super dark, but like that's
real
what,
life.
Yeah, that's like the most like real world thing. Like if you're really that afraid, you're not gonna go help the plucky guy who's also a molester. What is that?
I will tip my hat to Stephen King for that part only.
You're not wearing a hat, Chad.
Oh, sorry. I'll flick my nipple.
Ooh. So scintillating.
So this is where you get the weird scene where...
All
right, go ahead.
All
right, go ahead.
Emilio references to the old joke, "You can't get there from here." Would you like to hear the joke that's referring to? Because I'd never heard this fucking joke.
Yes.
Yes, let's hear it.
A traveler on a country road comes to a creek where the bridge has been swept away by a recent flood. The traveler sees an old farmer standing next to where the bridge used to be and asks, "Is there a way to backtrack and find somewhere else to get across the creek?" The farmer responds, "Yep, just go back up 2 miles, turn right and..." "No, go back 1 mile and turn left." The farmer stops for a minute, shrugs his shoulders, scratches his head, and then says to the traveler, "Come to think of it, you can't get there from here."
That's a joke?
Yep.
Oh, all right.
So then Emilio Estevez goes and descends into a sewer where he belongs after using a joke reference like that. And with
Yes.
the newlywed, we didn't mention he's a pee-pee fetishist in full and vivid detail. So in the first scene with him in the car with the wife, he's talking about she needs to pee, which is why they stop, I realize. And he's like, "Oh, can I go in there? Can I watch you?" And then they go in the sewer and he's talking about filth and he's like, "Ooh, yeah, what's it taste like?" And then when they get out of the sewer, he's like, "Wasn't that the best time you ever had?" What the fuck?
Yes, because we forgot we were going to name him, and we were going to name him R. Kelly.
R. Kelly, that's right.
R. Kelly. Oh,
Fist bump over that one again. Yes.
that's a good one.
That's all Chad. I was calling him Golden Showers. He said, "We can call him Marcelli." And we did a fist bump earlier and we just did another one. Do you want a fist bump with Chad for it?
Oh, I like that.
Very nice. I like when my best friends fist each other in front of me. Gross. And the kid
So
finds the corpse of the guy.
Yes.
And he looks like the
Well, he's
grandpa.
not a corpse yet.
Shut up. That's the point, is that it's a jump scare.
Oh, is
So-
it?
I
thought he hears him the whole time.
No, I thought that he thinks he's dead and then he
Yeah,
pops
'cause
up.
Oh, that's right.
He's like
He does
puts
think
his-
he's dead. That's
he puts
right.
his head on his chest and he's like listening for a heartbeat or
Yeah,
whatever.
and his eyes are open, right? Weren't they like weird? I don't know.
Who gives a
Whatever.
fuck,
I
Chad?
thought it was
Stupid.
weird.
Come on, Chad. Come on.
The whole scene's stupid.
Come on, Chad.
Whole scene.
Come on.
Vegan.
Come on, Chad.
Shove it.
Come on, Eileen. Sorry. Then what happens, Jimbo?
So the guy pops up and grabs him by the leg.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know. I'm like, is he supposed to be just half dead, or is he like, has he come back somehow?
quite all
Right.
yeah.
I'm feeling quite better.
Yeah.
He's mostly dead.
And he's just like hanging on to the kid's leg and the little kid's like dragging him. He drag me.
And then the
Right.
dumb cunt goes and dies anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And he's threatening to kill him.
So annoying. Keep going.
And at this point, Emilio and the newlywed come out and they stop and they're like, Emilio's like, "That's Deke's kid."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Just go save the child.
And like they're sitting there like staring at, "That's Deke's kid."
Oh, also his dad got run over by a truck. He sprayed himself in the eyes with gasoline, then gets hit by a truck. But when he goes from under the truck, he rolls sideways, again perpendicular, showing the physics don't make any sense. Continue, Jim.
So they go and pull the guy off of the kid and then put him back in the sewer and go back.
And the kid's
Whatever.
like, "Is my dad okay?" And Emilio just doesn't say anything.
A couple times
The
too.
silent treatment.
Super
And
awkward.
they get back and the the boss dipshit was like super insensitive.
Yes, he waits
what
until
did he say?
he waits until everyone's around the boy. And then dipshit just pretty much, he says, yeah, your dad's dead. I forget what he said, but it's super raw.
Somebody calls him a shithead for it. And then he's like, but you were all just going to lie to him. So I was like, honestly, it might be insensitive, but at least it was honest.
Yeah, true.
Because they weren't saying anything.
Yeah.
They're just giving them a look.
So then the turret Jeep shows up and the bulldozer teams up with it. The boss hits the tractor with a bazooka and then he doesn't get shot. And then the squibs hit some strange dude, or sort of the squibs fire off and the strange dude behind him. And I was saying to Chad, the reason that didn't go off in Boss Hog was probably because A, it hurts, and B, they already wasted so much money on the flying watermelons.
Yeah,
right.
But it was so noticeable, and it was difficult because he's such a dick, and you want him to die, and you want to see the bullets go in, and nothing. You just like turn, and it's like, oh yeah, he's covered in blood. Okay.
The other guy's practically that fuck from the conference room in RoboCop when he gets blown up by Ed 209.
Yep.
Somebody call an ambulance. I wanted to yell that last night, but I didn't want to wake up my baby. So the waitress then does the same goddamn rant about, oh, we made you, we deserve sympathy.
But she pulls out the rocket and does not reload it, or they do not show her reload it at all.
Because reasons. And this is where you get the Jeep honking in Morse code. And the kid's like, I know that because I have a merit badge. How many fucking movies have you seen where kids just like, oh, I have a merit badge for that. I know it is.
Yes.
I know electrical engineering. I know first aid. It's my new character who had a lot of nasal voice and no consonant sounds in the voice he makes.
So the Morse code is that somebody must pump them gas and they won't be harmed. And Emilio's like, okay. And this is where you get the heart-to-heart between Emilio and the green goblin truck.
Yeah. I was expecting the Morse code to translate to give me your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. There's your T2 reference. Fuck
Perfect.
boy.
Loved
Fuck
it.
boy.
Loved it.
Awesome. So then they start pumping gas, and Emilio Estevez is very tired from pumping gas all day.
With huge blisters all over his hands.
And it's like 100 degrees outside. I'm like, bitch, it was 100 when I woke up yesterday. Fuck you. Fuck yourself.
Yeah, in Oregon, you can't pump your own gas, and there's people that do that all the time for you all day. And I'm like, hey, they don't complain.
So I was once in Oregon, and the guy was pumping my gas, right? And he's like, you want to know how I can tell that you're from California? And I was like, my license plate? And he goes, oh, other than that, he's like, it's the fact that you tipped me. People here don't tip. And I was like, okay. You could have just said thank you.
Yeah, I don't think they're allowed to accept tips.
They took it.
Oh, ooh. Nice.
And I hope I didn't just narc on someone like an asshole. The guy gets fired 7 years later.
If he's still working there, I'd be sorry for him.
Yeah, for sure. Let's have some aspirations, good sir.
Right.
All right, Jimbo.
Okay.
Then what happened?
This is way back, but when the trucks first started killing people, I think it was when they killed the boy's dad. But the boss was like, dickhead was like, you gotta clock in, or like, are you gonna clock out? Or it was just before the dad went off.
Yes, that's right.
You know,
yeah,
he's like, are you gonna clock out? Because you're not clocking back in ever.
Yeah,
like things aren't killing people right now.
Yes.
But I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was funny.
Doesn't he say "go fuck yourself" or something like that? There's a line as he's walking off before he dies.
Yeah, I think so.
Me as a work opportunity, I'm like,
boy.
He resigned his employment, so everything that happens from here on out, even if it's on the employer's premises, is not a rising out of or in the course of employment. You saw it.
Yeah, this was also that death was also a sneaky truck one where it's like, oh, hey, I'm gonna turn around, I'm blind, and then it's like, ramp, you got ran over.
I really want to play the Pink Panther theme while that truck is creeping up. Da da
Da-da.
Can you do it in the tone of a diesel?
Honk, 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 honk. Honk, honk. Honk, 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 honk.
Oh.
Better or worse or the same?
This is so much better.
Okay. So Emilio then tricks the Jeep. He like comes up to it and he says like, yo mama something. And then he spins the fucking turret around, thus creating a spray fire, jeopardizing everybody's lives, and throws a grenade under it. They duck underneath the bar. It blows up. Hooray. Then what happens?
Then the trucks just start destroying everything, right?
Yep. Oh, also before that, there's a scene where he's like got heat stroke or whatever, and Bart Simpson's like, Let me cool you off, babykins. Oh, you're still a hero even though you're a total gaping vagina man.
Yet she was out there all day too, pumping gas.
Exactly. Women are the fiercer sex. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Hey, she's taller than him. She's bigger than him.
Hell yeah, she's a lioness. She's going to take that cum. She's going to make a baby.
Oh, yeah. Anybody?
I have no follow-up to she's going to take that cum and make that baby. I'm sorry. So then they just fucking go, oh, we should just totally go to the ocean.
Yes.
Okay. Our boat engines machines, our sails machines, because there's carabiner clips and all sorts of stuff, right? Our rudders machines, our oars machines, or are they not?
Yep.
And then they make their way to the parking lot of the beach. And Brad is like, hey, I'm going to steal this ring. At first, I legitimately thought with Stephen King's track record that he was going to fuck her head. I was like, or at least like allude to it, but it didn't really happen. I was going back to Street Trash when the boss has sex with the lady. Oh, it's so dirty. But he's just taking the ring and then it's his comeuppance, right? This is the Green Goblin is a parable for Jesus Christ. Because he creates swift retribution.
But who the hell is Emilio?
Emilio's Satan. He gets away. He's the morning star Lucifer who blows up Jesus. Haven't you read the Gospel according to Stephen King? They don't have it in audiobook form, which is probably why you haven't done it.
I have not done it.
Oh, God damn it. Well, somebody please. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I completely
missed a few things.
Yeah, the fact that the entire fucking thing explodes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My bad. Jim, why don't you tell us about that?
I was about to, but that was like all the explosions.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It was just like 10 times everything put together.
I love when the trucks are throwing the temper tantrum, like tearing down the awnings. It's super cute. You're like, oh, you're mad.
And it's also like you're not getting any more gas. Like they're destroying everything. And then that's also when the big tractor starts destroying the other car. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, right? It's like your same team.
Vehicle on vehicle. Yeah, violence.
And then we come to the plane and the bus.
Oh, it's so cute when it's sticking straight up out of it.
Okay.
Oh, so stupid.
I love it. It's my favorite part of this movie.
Hopefully there's a whole bunch of people in that bus. That's
Right.
the only reason, right?
Well, it's a school bus, so you just talked about infanticide.
Perfect.
High five. See, he fits in just like one of us. You better watch your back, Brian. What happens next, new Brian?
See, the kid
If you're
gets his
watching on
revenge.
YouTube and I just like shrank, it's because I'm tying my shoe even though I'm not walking. There you go.
So kid gets revenge for his dad.
Does he?
Oh no.
Does he really?
Yeah, he totally evens the score
my
there.
God. A truck runs his dad over and they go to a burger shop and he shoots the stupid menu and he's like, that's for my dad.
Not the thing that killed your dad, friend. Because clearly this isn't a hive mind situation because these things work independently and in direct contradiction to each other. So this is not a hive mind. These are separate individualized things. So he shoots something else or his dad. Just want to make sure that's
something
clear.
that is not a threat other than saying human alert.
Yeah.
They totally did not give this kid what he needed at the end.
No, not at all.
Swift kick in the ass.
Yeah, he should have been the one to kill.
Exactly,
the
the Green Goblin.
But so after the fast food, they continue on. You see the sign for the marina, I think, at this point.
Yep.
And we're like, okay, so they're going, and then the ice cream truck, and they're like, who was it that ran out with Bart? Was it the newlywed?
I don't remember.
It was the newlywed ran out there, and then his gun didn't work or something.
There you go.
And then Bart runs out, and she's pew pew pew,
yeah,
with some 9mm, and the ice cream truck blows up.
As a guy who played Twisted Metal pretty briefly as a kid, I was like, that's not how that works at all. Fire trucks, ice cream trucks, the exact antithesis of a fire truck, don't blow up that easily.
And then they get to the marina and everybody's going on the boat. And Emilio's like, what does he say? Says it was that one or something, where he's like the boat that he had in mind.
Yeah, he just points to like a random boat. You're like, oh, okay.
Whichever.
Which he was just saying he needed to get to the marina, not like he knew which boat. Yeah, I don't know. They made no sense. Like he's not the owner of the boat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then dumbass stops and steals a ring because there's not a lot of those things around anymore.
Right.
And we have another sneaky truck
Yes.
Well, this
Green
is the Goblin truck,
The
yeah.
Goblin truck, yeah. Out of nowhere. Like you didn't hear it coming.
Yep.
But so he flattens that guy.
Yep.
And then Emilio comes out with the rocket launcher, his moment of glory here, and blasts it.
Yep.
It drives through it. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, it lived. It's going to keep going. He's going to shoot another rocket. Nope, it just wheels slowly to death.
Right. Well, it's weird because the whole thing with the guy going to get the ring, he's very close to the boat where they're at.
Yeah.
And the truck runs him over, but then Emilio's just like, oh, hey, I shoot the rocket, and it's the truck's super far away again.
Like a football field
Yeah,
at least.
it's like Monty
was
Python where they're like running and it just keeps going backwards and backwards.
Which Kung Pao Enter the Fist completely ripped off, but was so fun to see on film again. So then we get the end credit. 2 days after, a large UFO was destroyed in space by a Russian, quote, weather satellite, which happened to be equipped with a laser cannon and a Class 4 nuclear missile. Approximately 6 days later, the Earth passed beyond the tail of the Rhea M exactly as predicted. The survivors are still true survivors. What the fuck? Stay in your lane, bitch. Is it aliens?
Oh.
Is it a comet? Why is it a comet? Like, just pick one. Why'd you overcomplicate it with this nonsensical bullshit? Take your Rhea M and shove it up your hemorrhea ass.
I think he was trying to do the new version of like zombie movies where they show tons of different ways that it could have, the reason why zombies are about.
Yeah.
He's like trying to be clever, going, oh, it could have been this. Oh, it could have been that. It's just stupid.
Yeah. And the real villain is the fucking Russians.
Yeah.
I don't know. So let's get to it. Classic, trashic, tragic, Jim.
He probably needs clarification on
Classic
this.
being good, good. Trashic being good, bad. And tragic being bad, bad.
Tragic.
Yep.
I think we're all on that same boat.
It's nowhere near Blood Diner at
Right.
all. Even with like you adding the cultural impact and whatever, it's not there. But it's fucking fun. Like here's the thing, like we're kind of like naysaying it, but I'd rather watch this than a lot of other shit. Like I turned off an episode of Stranger Things. We watched this. I don't feel like that was like a huge step down. It was just a lateral shift where I was like, oh, I still enjoy this. It's just not as good.
Yeah, you don't feel like you're wasting your time.
Exactly. This is not something where I want my money back. I want my time back. You know, Stephen King and I, if I met him, I wouldn't go out of my way to be like, you suck and I hate you. I would just be like, oh, you ever gonna learn how to do an ending, my friend? So with that, oh shit, Jim, you don't have a last action line. You don't have something to send off these motherfuckers with. So I'm going to cue over to Chad. He's going to say his. You come up with something amazing or you're demoted back to intern bitch. Got it? Chad.
Enjoy killing time. Until next week.
Jim.
Eat my shorts, fuck boys.
Yes!
Yeah, that works.
That works so well. Wow, you better remember that for next time. And for Jim, for Chad, for Brian, who's not here, for Stephen King, for anybody who gives a shit, I am Jake, your humble host, begging you, groveling with you, please spread this word like wildfire. Chad and I were talking before the show that when it comes to horror fans online, a lot of us reach out to people online because we don't have other friends in real life who watch horror, who love horror. It's a very isolating experience sometimes. I am fortunate enough to have 3 of my best friends be willing to talk about these things. I know that a lot of sharing goes on online. So please, if you know somebody online, send them a link to our bullshit show. I'd like to build a community. I'd like to build our own Facebook group or our own subreddit or something where we have a community of people that we can kind of foster and show what a positive place this can be. So far, the outpouring of support has been great. I really appreciate what you've already done. I'm asking you to go one step further. That being said, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/slasherspod. We have an Instagram, we have a Facebook, we have all of these things to keep you advised of what's going on and try and entertain you throughout the day. I try and come up with dumb memes that you'll enjoy, and if you don't like it, you don't have to look at it, but stay subscribing because whatever. Instagram's algorithm almost ensures that you're not going to see it unless I pay for it, so whatever. Anything I'm missing, Jed?
Nope, that's about it.
Perfect. We have shirts coming out. We have pins that I've talked about, but I'm now in crippling debt from doing the whole new audio interface, so we'll get back to it. I will go and remind you to go out there and do something you love. And remember that all work and no power play makes Jack a dull boy. Do the fart. Okay, let's do a barbershop trintet. Where we're gonna do the fart. You fart high, I'll fart medium. Chad, you fart low. Ready?
All right.
1, 2, 3.